Welcome into College Football Now, powered by Chat Sports. Tyler Jones here with you. So glad to have you with us. Coming up on today's show, we will break down the hot board for the Cincinnati Bearcats. Who will be their next head coach? We have a few names to get to in just a moment from right now. And the reason why this job is open, an unexpected opening, is because Luke Fickell, after 6 seasons, has left Cincinnati and is now the new head coach of the Wisconsin Badgers. Now, what's interesting about this job, you look at Cincinnati, they're on the upward trajectory, right? This is a school that just made the college football playoff a season ago. They're entering the Big 12 Conference next year. A lot of momentum, and they sent a lot of players to the NFL draft last year, so this is a place where you can have success. And Luke Fickell did have that in his 6 seasons with the Bearcats. And now making this move, how will Cincinnati build from this? And we've seen a good pedigree of coaches over the years come through this Cincinnati program. Who is going to be the next guy to continue the tradition of this Bearcat program and take them to the next level in the Big 12 Conference? We'll go over those names here in just a second. What I do wonder, though, Luke Fickell leaving for Wisconsin. That's a conference that already has Michigan and Ohio State, and it seemed like there was a golden opportunity for Luke Fickell heading into the Big 12 with Oklahoma and Texas on the way out and no clear number 1 team. Cincinnati potentially had a chance to go in and win and compete at a high level in the Big 12 right away, and Cincinnati still had plenty of money to pay him. Their athletic department's about to take a big bump when they join the Big 12 as well. Did Fickell make the right decision leaving Cincinnati for Wisconsin? Should he have waited out for a different job or stayed with the Bearcats? Let me know in the comments section if Fickell made the right call here. If you think he did, type Y for yes. If you think he didn't, type in for a no. You might get an ad break. If so, take advantage of it, get your votes in. Y for yes, in for no, if you think Luke Fickell made the right call leaving Cincinnati. Let's begin looking at the internal candidates for Cincinnati, and it starts with Mike Tressel, who is the defensive coordinator for the Bearcats, and of course he's related to the former Ohio State head coach Jim Tressel, won a national championship with the Buckeyes, and certainly would be a popular choice among those within the Cincinnati community. Then there's Kerry Coombs, who is the special teams coordinator, and he's also serving as the interim head coach there at Cincinnati for the time being until they find their next head coach, and could be Kerry, obviously. And then there is Gino Guidugli, who is the current offensive coordinator for the Bearcats, and he's a legend around those parts at Cincinnati, a member of Cincinnati's Athletics Hall of Fame. All of those guys have been on the recruiting trail. They know what it takes to win with the Bearcats, have been successful, part of that playoff run that Cincinnati was on a year ago. Could one of these guys potentially be the next head coach for Cincinnati when it comes to internal candidates, or will they look outside? We have 12 names we're giving you. Those are the first 3. We'll get to the next 9 of the external candidates in just a moment. But I want to know, should Cincinnati stay right there with the candidates that are in-house? I think that they might be better served looking at other options beyond what's there in-house. What say you? Cincinnati should not hire an internal candidate. Do you agree with that statement or disagree? If you agree, type T for true. If not, type F for false. Let me know how you're feeling one way or the other. If you think they should hire an internal candidate, T for true, F for false. Let me know in the comments section below. Got a great deal that we are offering college football fans here on College Football Now. It is getting a little bit colder. December just around the corner, and you need to get warm right now, folks. And might as well be representing your favorite team, whether you're an Oregon Ducks fan, an Oklahoma Sooners fan, Kentucky, Notre Dame, whatever it may be. We're offering hoodies of some of your favorite college football teams all across the country on sale right now for this time of year for up to 50% off just for a limited time. You can get yours right now at chatsports.com/college football hoodie. That's CFB hoodie to get yours today. Start saving. Warm up right now. You'll be looking good and representing your favorite team in the process. Get yours now up to 50% off. Chatsports.com/CFB hoodie. So let's look at the external candidates now for Cincinnati. We begin with Jim Leonhard, the head coach at Wisconsin when he replaced Paul Chryst after Paul Chryst was hired. Leonhard, a young guy, and it seemed like he was on track to get the Wisconsin job until Wisconsin found none other than Luke Fickell from Cincinnati. So could there be a trade of some sorts potentially? And Leonhard has already committed to be the defensive coordinator and stay on staff at Wisconsin, but would you be interested to potentially bring him over to Cincinnati to be the next head coach? That's certainly an idea, and he knows how to recruit that area of the Midwest where Cincinnati is at and where he recruited at Wisconsin previously. So that could be an option. Another name is Kevin Wilson at The Ohio State. Kevin Wilson did a really good job as head coach at Indiana, but there was some disputes that caused him to lose that job. Ultimately, he's been at Ohio State now as OC and has done a really good job there with that Buckeyes program, and we've already seen him be a successful head coach. Cincinnati could be that right fit. And going into the Big 12, might I add, remember, Wilson used to be the offensive coordinator at Oklahoma as well, so he has ties to recruit Big 12 country as well, something to keep in mind there with Wilson. Speaking of the Big 12, what about Tom Herman, the former head coach of the Texas Longhorns? And we saw Tom Herman have a lot of success as the head coach at Houston, who's also about to make their way into the Big 12 as well. Former OC at Ohio State. His time at Texas was pretty lackluster, left a lot to be desired. He didn't do a bad job, but he didn't do a great job. And Tom Herman, he's somebody that hasn't coached in the last couple of years. We know he knows offense and he can recruit. Potentially, that could be a name to keep in mind for this job. Also in the Big 12 Conference, Matt Campbell, the current coach of the Iowa State Cyclones, and this would be a move within the conference. Obviously, he's already in the Big 12. We've seen Matt Campbell compete for Big 12 championships with the Iowa State Cyclones, but you wonder how sustainable is it with that Iowa State program. Remember, this year they only won 4 games this year. Could a move to Cincinnati for Matt Campbell potentially make sense? I don't know. And then there's another name that's kind of off the wall, but hear me out on this. Urban Meyer, the former head coach of the Ohio State Buckeyes. He obviously played for Cincinnati, a legend in those parts. He's won national titles at Florida and at Ohio State. And his name came up last year for the USC job, but with the way things ended with the Jacksonville Jaguars, his name was kind of taken out of the equation. And I don't know if Urban Meyer can land one of those blue blood jobs in college football again. If he wants to return to coaching, opportunities like Cincinnati might be all that's left for Urban Meyer at this point in time, potentially. So if you want a big name, if you want somebody that's close to home, it might be a reach, but Urban Meyer is potentially a guy on there. We have a few more names to get to in a moment, but here's what I want to know about Urban Meyer. We already know he's on Fox's Big Noon Kickoff show and does a great job as one of their top analysts. What are the chances that we see Urban Meyer return to college football, whether it's for Cincinnati or another program for that matter, or if we've seen the last of Urban Meyer in coaching? Scale it for me in the comments section. What are the chances that we see Urban Meyer return to the sideline? Scale it for me 1 through 10, and let me know what you think if we see Urban Meyer back in college football. Folks, you need to subscribe to College Football Now with daily college football coverage, as we have this sport covered like no one else does, whether it's the hot boards when it comes to coaching, or whether we're talking about the college football playoff, recruiting, the transfer portal, and everything in between. It's all in one place right here on College Football Now by Chat Sports. Subscribe today. You'll be glad you did. YouTube.com/ChatSportsTV. Be a real one and join us each and every day here on the channel. Some more names for you. Got 4 more to get to. Let's look at Dave Clawson now, the head coach at Wake Forest. Clawson's done a really good job with that Wake Forest program, but have they hit their ceiling potentially? And a private school, a very elite academic institution, what more can you do at Wake Forest? That's what I wonder with Dave Clawson. Could Cincinnati be a fit to make that change for him potentially? Then there's a name that everybody is talking about these days, Deion Sanders at Jackson State. We already know he's been offered the Colorado head coaching position, and he says that he's been offered another Power 5 position as well. But here's the deal. At the end of the day, Cincinnati is a better job than Colorado is right now. And I know Colorado has a rich tradition in history, but at this point in time, Cincinnati is going to be in a better conference than what Colorado is. And we mentioned their athletic budget is about to come up quite a bit. They've had more recent success here, but Deion Sanders with a lack of experience at this level. The question, I think, for Cincinnati is not does Deion Sanders want this job, but does Cincinnati want Deion Sanders? A couple more for you, some coordinators to keep in mind. Jesse Minter, the defensive coordinator at Michigan. Michigan has been fantastic under Minter, leading the way, what he's been able to do with that group. And if you go back to what they did just over the weekend against Ohio State, shutting down that Buckeyes team offensively, which had a well-oiled machine, a great offense going into the week, and Minter and company came up with a great game plan. They seem to be well on their way to the college football playoff in another Big Ten title. Staying in the Big Ten, another coordinator, and that's Brian Hartline. The former Ohio State receiver has made his name known as the passing game coordinator there for Ohio State. And obviously he's been recruiting within the state of Ohio as well. That could potentially be a natural transition to make his way over to be Cincinnati's head coach. So those are the candidates. Now, prediction time. You tell me, who will be the next head coach of the Cincinnati Bearcats? Will it be somebody we mentioned, somebody we did not mention on today's show? Let me know in the comments section below who you think will be the next head coach for Cincinnati. As always, you can follow me on social media, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Tyler Jones Live, talking about college football all the time on those social media platforms. And I'll see you next time right here on College Football Now.